19. The government medical agency listed bleach mixed with water as a make-it-yourself disinfectant. Now, its guidance on that has changed. For one thing, the CDC says disinfecting surfaces is usually not necessary unless someone who's sick has been in the home within 24 hours. It's also telling people to be more careful with disinfectants. Last year, more calls related to these chemicals were made to poison control centers 19 and 2018. The organization says bleach is toxic. It reminds people never to mix it with ammonia, and it says it should never be used on food. It also says household cleaners need to be kept off our skin and out of our bodies. Officials say the risk of catching coronavirus off the surfaces we touch is low, especially if those surfaces are outside. The main way the disease spreads is when you're nearby someone who has it, particularly if they're spreading droplets by coughing or sneezing. Should we stop cleaning surfaces altogether? No. Research shows that in a household where someone has COVID-19, transmission rates are lower when common surfaces are regularly cleaned. The CDC says doing that with soap or detergent is good enough, and that doorknobs and light switches are good spots to focus on. What about alternative LED blue lights and ultrasonic waves? Officials say they don't know yet how effective these methods are. We've talked about how some U.S. colleges are considering COVID vaccine requirements for students, though they can apply for exemptions for religious or medical reasons. Experts say it's not clear if universities can legally require the shot, and some, like Harvard, strongly recommend it but don't require it. For others, though,
so they will require all students to be fully vaccinated for COVID-19 before returning to campus in the fall. Yale and Columbia universities join more than 3 dozen U.S. colleges and universities such as Georgetown, Duke, Rutgers, Pomona, and the University of Seattle in Washington, requiring student vaccinations. Schools will provide vaccines for students who have yet to be vaccinated.
I'm Kylie Atwood at the State Department. The Biden administration continues to urge all Americans not to travel abroad due to the coronavirus pandemic. And the State Department issued a statement on Monday saying that they're going to be updating their travel advisories to be more in line with the travel advisories coming from the CDC. And as a result, there are going to be approximately 80% of countries worldwide that are now going to be at the level 4 travel advisory from the State Department. That is their highest level travel advisory. It means do not travel. And these are advisories for all Americans, no matter if they've received their vaccination or not.
I'm Allison Cossack in New York. Starting this week, CVS will begin selling 3 different over-the-counter COVID-19 tests at its pharmacies and online. One is a rapid test that gives a result in 15 minutes through a free app that you can download to your phone. The second is a pack of 2 rapid tests. If you get a negative result after the first test, you need to take the second one within 3 days. And the third is a PCR test with results within 1 to 2 days. You don't need a prescription, and all the tests have received FDA emergency use authorization.
On Monday afternoon, a former police officer named Derek Chauvin was found guilty of all 3 charges against him related to the death of George Floyd. On May 25th of last year, Floyd was arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was suspected of trying to use counterfeit money. After he was handcuffed, Chauvin, a white police officer, knelt with his knee on Floyd's back and neck. The 46-year-old black man repeatedly said he couldn't breathe, and he eventually fell silent and quit moving. Floyd was then taken to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead an hour later. In the weeks and months that followed, protests welled up across the United States, with demonstrators accusing police of being biased against black Americans. Some of these protests turned violent. There was looting and damage to hundreds of buildings in Minnesota. During Chauvin's trial, several medical experts said that by kneeling on George Floyd, Chauvin restricted his ability to get oxygen and caused his death. Chauvin's defense said that Floyd died from heart disease and drugs in his system. State officials had concerns there'd be more unrest if Chauvin was found not guilty, but yesterday, a jury did find the former officer guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, or tundra wolf. Also known as timber wolves, an estimated 6,000 gray wolves live in the contiguous U.S. alone. dog family, male gray wolves can weigh more than 150 pounds. That's a big dog. They are strictly carnivores unless they're eating berries, and we learned that from a lone gray wolf that was tracked recently in northern Minnesota.
We know wolves don't sit around howling all day. But what do wolves do? Camera fishing, but watching one fish? From his perspective, catching several spawning suckers was a thrill for researchers. The Voyageurs Wolf Project tracked this young male for 6 weeks, watching crows up in the sky. The camera collar was made by a German company that even makes them extra large for elephants. The wolf cam was programmed to fall off, detach on a specific date, and GPS-enabled researchers to retrieve it. What's Tom Gable's favorite oddball tidbit about the secret lives of wolves?
Wolves in our area eat a lot of blueberries.
Not only do they eat them, they sometimes regurgitate.
This is my homeroom teacher, you guys. Like I said, this is Steve. This is Jordan. This is Brian White, who's so impatiently sometimes. And that is Adina, the assistant of Juan. This is Herbert, the most laziness boy, but I respect his opinion. This is Megan.
Okay, we're gonna start with Jordan. Go ahead, Jordan.
I'll be back, guys.
Well, justice was done. It's done. The man who used unnecessary murder on a black-skinned man was found guilty.
Right.
That's right, my friend.
That's what they gave the verdict, I think, yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that reminds me of something. Did you know that one of the Tuskegee Airmen after the...
Sure, Miss Tammy. On the CNN 10 today is like I heard that all the schools colleges and universities will be open this fall.
Mm-hmm.
But students needs to get vaccinated first. And I heard that the bleach could cause your skin of something. That's what I heard.
Yes, it's true. They were talking about no using bleach. Don't mix bleach and ammonia because it's no good. Those kind of mix are not agreed together. And
Yep.
if you trying to disinfect that, it causes more damage than good. So they want us to stop cleaning so much. So
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's we don't know what to do anymore. Okay, Jose, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing. Megan, you had your hands up. Go ahead.